Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to take everyday emergency readiness entirely out of that extreme doomsday realm and bring it right down to practical, actionable steps for your own home. Look, we've all seen those intense survivalist shows, right? But true preparedness, it absolutely isn't about building secret bunkers. It's really just about being smart, getting organized, and being ready for the unexpected, literally right where you live. So let's kick things off with a bit of a provocative thought. Emergencies are totally unpredictable, for sure. But your readiness, that is entirely in your control. I mean, think about it. If a massive storm knocked out the grid right this very second, or if a main water pipe suddenly burst in your neighborhood, would you know exactly what to do? Well, by the end of this, we're going to make sure your answer is a super confident yes. To tackle this, we're basically going to build what I like to call a survival pyramid. We'll be hitting 5 key areas today. Number 1, safe drinking water. Number 2, smart food rotation. 3, choosing emergency power. 4, proper battery storage. And finally, number 5, essential home repair skills. All right, let's jump right into section 1, safe drinking water and handling contamination. You know, when disaster strikes, your tap water can become unsafe in an absolute instant. And bottled water? Yeah, that sells out at the store in minutes. This brilliant CDC graphic outlines your primary fallback options. But hey, pay really close attention to that critical warning at the bottom. While you've got some great options for dealing with biological contaminants, boiling or disinfecting your water will absolutely not remove harmful chemical toxins. Seriously, if your water is chemically contaminated, no amount of boiling is going to make it safe to drink. Okay, so assuming we are just dealing with biological contaminants and grabbing bottled water is out of the question, you've got to remember these 3 exact steps. First up, boil it. You want a rolling boil for at least 1 minute. And here's a crazy fact. If you live at a high elevation, like above 6,500 feet, you actually have to bump that boil time up to 3 whole minutes. Now, second, if boiling just isn't an option, you can disinfect. You'll use 8 drops, which is a little less than 1/8 of a teaspoon, of 5 to 9% unscented household bleach per gallon of water, and then you just wait 30 minutes. And third, if you go the portable filter route, you have to make sure it specifically says it removes parasites. Surprisingly enough, most of your basic portable filters don't actually remove bacteria or viruses on their own. Moving right along to section 2, smart food rotation and maximizing shelf life. So having a food stockpile is awesome, but if you mismanage it, you are basically just throwing your hard-earned cash right in the trash. Get this, it is staggering, but the USDA estimates that 30 to 40% of food in the US goes to waste. A huge chunk of that waste? It just comes down to confusion. People constantly mix up sell-by dates with actual safety expiration dates. The sell-by date really just tells the grocery store when to take an item off the shelf, and the use-by date is just a suggestion for peak freshness. It definitely does not mean the food magically becomes toxic the second the clock strikes midnight. To avoid all that massive waste and guarantee your emergency supply is actually edible when things go south, you've got to implement FIFO, first in, first out. It's a ridiculously simple rotation method. Basically, you just use up your older pantry items for your daily meals, and you shove your brand new grocery hauls all the way to the back. By making your emergency stash a seamless part of your normal, everyday pantry rotation, you're capitalizing on the absolute full shelf life of your food. Now, beyond FIFO, you'll want to store everything in cool, dark, and dry areas using airtight containers. Oh, and definitely don't overcrowd your fridge or freezer, because that really messes with the necessary air circulation. And here is an absolute pro tip. Tape your food inventory checklist directly to the outside of the fridge door. Think about it. If the power cuts out, the absolute last thing you want to do is stand there mindlessly with the door wide open, letting all that precious cold air escape while you hunt around for a snack. Knowing exactly what's inside beforehand totally saves your supply. Next up, section 3, choosing emergency power to keep the lights on. All right, now that our basic biological needs are covered, let's level up our pyramid to technology. When it comes to backup power, the 2 heavyweights are portable power stations and generators. We're going to do a quick head-to-head comparison right now because honestly, buying the wrong one of these for your specific home setup can be a really, really expensive mistake. So these 2 devices serve very, very different purposes. A portable power station literally just stores energy in a giant battery.
The beauty of this is that it's totally safe to use indoors, it's whisper quiet, and it requires virtually zero maintenance, maybe just a quick wipe down every now and then. But it does max out at around 3,000 watts per hour, which makes it perfect for charging laptops, phones, and getting through shorter outages. Now, on the flip side, we have the mechanical generator. This beast gives you massive, continuous power. We're talking anywhere from 4,000 to 12,000 watts an hour. It can easily run your heavy appliances, but it relies on actual fuel. That means you're doing oil changes, replacing filters, and because it produces dangerous exhaust fumes, it absolutely 100% must be used outdoors.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, proper battery storage in preventing total failure. If you do decide to rely on smaller battery backups, you've got to know that storing them incorrectly can lead to cell degradation, swelling, and literally total failure exactly when you need them most. Take a really close look at this data, because different battery chemistries have wildly different rules. Look at that top row for lithium ion, that's the stuff powering most of our modern electronics, right? Well, storing those at a full 100% charge actually degrades them. You really want to keep them hovering right around a 40 to 60% state of charge. You also need to charge them within 45 days of delivery so they don't under-discharge. Now, contrast that with sealed lead acid, or SLA batteries, down there at the bottom. Those absolutely must be stored fully charged, and you have to remember to top charge them every 6 months or they will completely fail. Keeping these specific maintenance rules in mind guarantees your backup power actually turns on when the block goes dark. And finally, Section 5, essential home repair skills, where you take physical control. Okay, we've officially reached the top of our survival pyramid. Look, relying entirely on professionals for every tiny little fix is super expensive. And in a widespread emergency, they simply aren't going to be available. So let's rapidly run through this checklist of must-have DIY skills. Mastering these prevents minor inconveniences from snowballing into super expensive disasters. I'm talking about things like knowing how to reset a tripped circuit breaker, or just keeping your gutters clean every spring and fall to stop roof leaks before they start. You should also definitely be replacing your HVAC filters every 90 days. That improves your air quality and lowers your energy bills. And hey, don't forget to drain the water from your hot water heater at least once a year. That flushes out all that damaging sediment buildup. Trust me, these are small, simple tasks, but they have massive returns. But listen, if there is a single, absolutely crucial point you take away from this entire explainer today, it is this. You need to go locate your main utility shutoff valves right now. Seriously, if a pipe bursts or you suddenly smell a gas leak, you do not have the time to go searching around in a panic, and you definitely can't wait for a plumber. Your water shutoff is usually right where the main line enters the house, so check your basement, your garage, or maybe a crawl space. And your main gas valve? That's almost always located on the interior wall exactly opposite from where your outside gas meter sits. Finding these today will maybe take you 5 minutes, but not knowing where they are tomorrow, that could literally cost you thousands of dollars in severe water or gas damage. So by mastering this pyramid, securing safe water, rotating your food smartly, choosing the right backup power, maintaining your batteries, and learning some basic physical maintenance, you completely take back control from the unpredictable. You're no longer just a passive resident hanging out in your house, you become its actual caretaker. Which leaves us with one final, very important question to ask yourself today. Your home protects you, but are you prepared to protect your home? I highly encourage you to start with just one step today. Go find those utility valves and start building your readiness toolkit. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, stay prepared.